Hey guys, in this video we're going to cover what is encapsulation. So it is one of the very important principles of object-oriented programming that we still use till date. So what is encapsulation? It's, you can say in short, bundling of data plus controlling access to that data, which means how many private, public or protected variables you use is defined by how well you control access to that data. So encapsulation begins when you control how it's modified or what goes in. Okay, you protect internal state, which means you're stopping outsiders or external code from messing up your object's data. Okay, so there are three ways how you control access to that data. We can see in this account.python file we have a parameterized constructor, and I have mentioned those three ways, which is public, protected and private. So in this private attribute, like double underscore balance, there is sensitive information, sensitive data. You don't want it to be manipulated by other classes. Now, there is strong restriction that you cannot directly use it from other classes, so it's restricted to that class only. Now, in protected attribute like single underscore account type, it's soft restriction, so it's convention based. It's about inheritance level access that's intended for its subclass and classes only. Now, say for example, if you have another class that is inheriting all the properties and methods of the class account, it can safely access account type. But say if you access this from main.app, it Python does allow it, but it breaks the convention. Okay, we can access it, but it's not right. It's not recommended. So protected members are meant for internal use or subclasses, not external modules like main app or savings account, unless it inherits that class. All right, and we have public attribute like name, which is safe to expose. Okay, it's public, so anyone can access. So it's intentionally exposed. So in these methods like deposit and withdraw, I can say it's a controlled access layer, which means that I can have balance to be accessed from other classes. Okay, provided it's inside these methods. So you can't modify balance directly, right? So they enforce rules like there should be no negative deposits or no overdraft, right? So they act as a gatekeeper for updating balance. Also, you can say it's a way of for these methods to tell balance that hey, you can use me if you want others to have access to you. And in methods like apply bank charges or double underscore apply bank charges, it's a private method, right? So it contains hidden internal logic or operations that should not be exposed to users or other classes. So it's used inside the class only and not meant to be called externally or from other classes. So we have savings account class right here, okay, which has a default constructor, and we're just skipping the execution for this. And we have show details, right, and we are inside that we are printing the account type, which is easily accessible, okay, right. And as I said, for protected attributes they can only be accessed provided the class, which is savings account, is inheriting the methods of bank account, so we can safely access this. And if we just print it out from line 15 in the main app, we can get the account type, okay, which is right here. Get account type. In account we can safely have access to the account type. So I'm just going to execute this and see what we get. Okay, it's alright, we get deposited 500. That's because we are sending a 500 rupees, so that this deposit method right here inside account can have access to that amount, which is, if it is greater than 0, then it checks that balance and it adds to that balance, and it says that deposit so and so amount. Otherwise, if the amount is less than 0 or equal to 0, then it just simply out says that there is no deposit amount because you haven't entered anything. Okay, and for withdraw we are sending a parameter as 300. Okay, you're calling, which is easily accessible, right? Deposit and withdraw is easily accessible. Okay, but what we have inside deposit and withdraw is not easily accessible to main app.py. Like for example, in line 10 we have here, we are printing out the account dot double underscore balance, which is a private property, and it does not belong to main app, it belongs to bank account class. Okay, so you cannot access this, and what we're going to get is an error saying that bank account object has no attribute balance, because it is not aware that balance where it's coming from, which class, that it comes from class bank account. Okay, did you mean get balance? So we can use get balance here. Okay, because this program right here knows that we can use get balance to have access to the private property of balance, and we can access it. So in line 6 we have withdraw method, that is we are passing a withdrawal of 300 as an parameter. So it checks withdraw if the amount that we want to withdraw is less than or greater than the balance. Simply if we have a withdrawal amount that is greater than the balance, is going to just tell us that there is insufficient balance, and if it is less than, then it's going to check and say that it's going to deduct the amount from the balance and say that withdrawn so and so amount, like we have here. Okay, like successfully withdrawn 300. So, and in line 8 we have print balance, and we are calling the get balance. So after we have withdrawn 300, it says that we have a balance of 1200. So it just calculates internally and says uh, provides us the balance. All right, so inside get balance method we have a private property, so that is how we are having access to the balance via a public method, which is get balance, okay, from another class. So that is how we have access to the private properties of another class by using public methods. Okay, so we're just going to comment that out, and say in line 11 we are going to have access to a private method. Okay, how do we know this is private? This is by using double underscore. Okay, so apply bank charges is a private method and we cannot have access to it, so this too is going to give us an error. So I'm just going to execute this and see what we get. Bank account object has no attribute apply bank charges, so it must be saying and over here it didn't say did you mean so and so, because we cannot have a method. I mean, we can have a method inside a method, but in this case it didn't ask because it doesn't know where this method came from. It's not aware that apply bank charges is from the class bank account. Okay, and inside this private method we have double underscore balance, which is deducting 10 from itself. Okay, and it says bank charges applied. So this method can never be executed if we access it directly from another class. So the only way we can access this is via another public method. So we use process month end to be able to access what's inside this private method, right? So that's another way of having access to other private methods that belong to different other classes. Okay, to a class that contains those private methods. Then I'm just going to comment this out and have this. So this is going to print out. Okay, right, so I'm just going to print it out and see bank charges applied, right? Just what we have inside this private method, and that is because we are accessing this private method from a public method, which is process month end. So when we execute this we get what we asked for. All right, now I'm just going to comment this out and we have print out the final balance, so we are calling the get balance. So similarly we're just going to have the final balance like we have right here, which is 1200. Okay, I think line 14 and line 8 are doing the same thing. So just going to comment this out, and ultimately we have the get account type, which is in class bank account. I'm just going to delete all this, the terminal right here. Okay, and the only way we can access this is if we are inheriting the class bank account, but as I said earlier, we don't enforce it. So Python does not enforce that, so it does allow it that it can the protected variables and methods can be accessed uh, from the main.app, right? Main app. So in this savings account we are incorrectly inheriting it. So the correct way would be by calling the super method dot double underscore init, and we provide the parameters. In this case it was name and balance, right? So we put that here and pass that. Okay, so now we are inheriting bank account, but even though we have this, it does not enforce that it has to be inherited, and it prints this anyway. Okay, so if we just print it out, okay, it still gives us that the account type is type savings, okay, which we have as a default string right here. So accessing account type through the savings account subclass is the intended way to use protected members, right? So they are designed to be used within the class and its child classes, not from the external modules like the main application, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to ensure that show details works, which follows the encapsulation convention, all right, of having used account type as a protected variable. So I'm just going to comment this out, and we're going to create an object so that we can call this show details right here, and say the object is going to be, okay, we first call from savings account. I want to import savings account, right? And save savings account equals to that, and we call the same parameter Smith and pass 100 as, I think, the deposit, or is the balance, I think. Yeah, is the balance. So in here I would want to use the object to call show details. Okay, we're getting access to that uh, using the object, and inside account we want to pass this account type, right? So I'm just going to copy that and paste it inside of savings and pass this as default type, say checking. Okay, I'm safely receiving it right here as I am inheriting the bank account, okay, using the super method, and I'm just going to receive it here as savings, right? Similarly here the super method. Okay, so I think this is it. I'm just going to run it to see what I get. Right, so we are ensuring that type is savings, okay, and we are no longer using the main application to access the protected variables, right? So account type belongs to the base class bank account, and it is a protected variable, okay, and the way we are accessing it is not through the main application but through the inherited subclass, which is savings account. Okay, we are receiving it using the super method, and we are just printing the value out. So unlike private, protected in Python is not enforced like in Java or C++. It's a convention. You won't get an error, but if you access accounts type directly through the main app, you're violating the design principles. So the best way to perform this is to, create a subclass, inherit those properties using the super method, and access the protected variables inside the base class, right? That's the best way we can do it. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please do let me know, and put them down in the comments below. I'll be sure to address them. So keep practicing, and I'll see you around.